The giant ship appeared in the sky one Tuesday morning. It hung above Earth like a shining silver disk. People all over the world looked up and felt afraid. Dr. Ju Kim was eating breakfast when her phone rang. She answered it with shaking hands. "Dr. Kim, we need you at the base now," said the voice on the phone. "The aliens want to talk." Ju grabbed her coat and rushed out the door. As a top scientist who studied possible alien life, she had trained for this day. But nothing could really prepare anyone for first contact. At the military base, people ran in all directions. Screens showed the alien ship from different angles. In the main room, Ju found Colonel Tahoe Park giving orders. "Dr. Kim," he said when he saw her. "Good. You're on the welcome team. The aliens sent a message. They want to meet us." "What did they say?" Ju asked. "Just 4 words. We come in peace." Tahoe did not look like he believed it. His hand rested on his gun. "We need to show trust," Ju said. "No weapons at the meeting." Tahoe frowned, but nodded. "The president agrees with you." 3 hours later, Ju stood with 5 other people in an open field. They had been chosen to meet the aliens first: 2 scientists, 2 government officials, and 2 military officers. Tahoe stood beside Ju, stiff and alert. A small craft left the big ship and floated down to the field. It made no sound as it landed on the grass. Everyone held their breath. The door opened and light poured out. A tall figure stepped onto Earth. The alien looked almost human, but too perfect. It had pale skin that seemed to glow slightly. Its movements were graceful, like a dancer's. It wore flowing silver clothes that moved like water. "I am Ilara, ambassador of the Luminary," the alien said in perfect English. Her voice sounded like music. "We have traveled far to meet you." "Welcome to Earth," said one of the government officials. "We are honored by your visit." Ilara smiled. "We wish to share knowledge and friendship with humanity. We have watched your planet for some time. You have great potential." Over the next few days, the Luminary shared amazing things. They offered medical technology that could cure many diseases. They showed how their ships work using clean energy. They spoke of planets they had visited across the galaxy. World leaders welcomed them. News channels could talk of nothing else. Most people felt excited about the new friendship with aliens. But Ju noticed small things that bothered her. The Luminary never allowed humans onto their main ship. They only used the small landing craft for meetings. When asked certain questions about their home planet or their history, they changed the subject smoothly. And sometimes, when Ilara thought no one was watching, her perfect smile dropped. Just for a second, her eyes looked cold. Ju tried to tell Tahoe about her concerns one evening. They were leaving a big meeting about shared technology. "Something isn't right," she whispered. "They're hiding something." Tahoe sighed. "Dr. Kim, you're looking for problems where there aren't any. The Luminary have given us cures for 3 major diseases already. What more proof of friendship do you need?" "I don't know," Ju admitted. "But why won't they let us visit their ship? Why are there gaps in everything they tell us about themselves?" "You scientists always want to know everything," Tahoe said. "Some things take time. Don't ruin this with paranoia." Ju nodded, but she couldn't shake the feeling of wrongness. That night, she started keeping notes on everything the Luminary said and did. She would find the truth behind their perfect smiles. And in the darkness of space, more Luminary ships were already on their way to Earth. 6 months passed since the Luminary arrived. The world had changed. Streets were cleaner. Hospitals used new alien medicine. People smiled more, talking about the new age of peace and progress. Ju didn't smile much these days. She sat in her lab, looking at her computer screen. Her assistant, Hiren, stood beside her. "Look at this," Hiren said, pointing to some numbers. "The Luminary medical database has these strange gaps. When I try to access certain files, I get blocked." Ju nodded. "I've noticed that too. What were you looking for when you found this?" just details about their body chemistry. I wanted to understand how their medicines work. Hiren's eyes shined with excitement. But I found something else by accident. There's a hidden folder about human testing. It's heavily locked, but I saw the title. Ju felt cold. Human testing. What kind of testing? I don't know. The system kicked me out. But I'm going to try again tonight when the network is quiet. Be careful, Ju warned. Don't let them know what you're doing. The next morning, Hiren didn't come to work. Ju called her home, her friends, her family. No one had seen her. When Ju asked the luminary representatives, they smiled their perfect smiles. Hiren has been selected for our special research program, said Ilara. She showed great interest in our work, so we invited her to study on our ship. She was very happy for this honor. When can I talk to her? Ju asked. The research chamber is in deep communication silence, Ilara explained smoothly, but she will return with valuable knowledge to share. Ju knew this was a lie. Hiren would never leave without telling her, without packing her things, without saying goodbye to her family. That evening, Ju tried something dangerous. Using Hiren's notes, she hacked into the Luminary database. She didn't find much before alarms started flashing on her screen, but what she saw turned her blood cold. A file labeled Human Compatibility Testing showed diagrams of human brains connected to alien machines. Another file started with the words Consciousness Extraction Protocol. Ju copied what she could to a secure drive, then shut down her computer. Her hands shook. She needed help, and there was only one person with enough power who might believe her now. Colonel Tahoe Park sat alone in his office when Ju arrived. Papers covered his desk. Maps of military bases were marked with red circles. He looked up, his face tired. Dr. Kim, what brings you here so late? I need to show you something, she said, placing her drive on his desk. And I think you might have something to show me too. Tahoe stared at her for a long moment. Then he turned one of his maps around so she could see it better. Strange energy readings at military installations around the world, he said quietly. Always at night. Always brief. Our satellites caught glimpses of small craft leaving the luminary mothership during these times. They're mapping our defenses, Ju whispered. Tahoe nodded. What did you find? Ju told him about Hiren, the hidden files, and what she'd seen about consciousness extraction. I think they're taking people, not just Hiren. Why would they do this? Tahoe asked. They've given us so much. I don't know yet, but I know they're lying about coming in peace. Tahoe stood up and locked his office door. We need to be careful. Some officials have been acting strangely after private meetings with the luminary. Too supportive, like they can't see any problems. What do we do? Ju asked. We need proof, real proof that others will believe. Tahoe said. We need to get onto their ship. That's impossible. They'd never allow humans aboard the mothership. Tahoe smiled slightly. Next week is the Global Cooperation Gala. All world leaders will attend. The luminary will be distracted with the ceremonies. You want to sneak onto an alien spaceship? Ju asked in disbelief. No, said Tahoe. We are going to sneak onto an alien spaceship. I need your brain, Dr. Kim. Outside the building, the luminary observer watched them through the window, its perfect face showing no emotion at all. We need more help, Tahoe said. They sat in his small apartment, away from listening ears. Just the two of us can't do this alone. Ju nodded. I know someone. Dong-Hyun Lee. He's the best computer expert in the country. If anyone can get past luminary security systems, it's him. Good. I'll bring in Minji Kang. She studies how different cultures think and act. She might help us understand the luminary better. 3 days later, the four of them met in a basement room with no windows. Maps and plans covered the walls. Dong-Hyun, a thin man with quick eyes, studied the luminary security codes that Ju had copied. Their system is advanced, but I think I can create a bypass, he said. We might get about 20 minutes before they detect us. Minji, a quiet woman with sharp eyes, pointed to diagrams of the luminary ship. Based on what we've seen of their smaller craft, I think their research area would be here, away from the central halls. They made their plan. During the Global Cooperation Gala, they would use the confusion to board one of the transport shuttles that carried supplies to the mothership. Dong-hyun would hack the security system. They would find the research area and gather evidence of what the luminary were really doing. On the night of the gala, the sky lit up with fireworks. World leaders raised glasses with the luminary ambassador. No one noticed 4 humans in maintenance uniforms slipping aboard a supply shuttle. The inside of the mothership was beautiful. Smooth white walls curved in ways that felt both strange and perfect. Soft light came from everywhere and nowhere. "This way," Dong-hyun whispered, looking at a small device in his hand. "I'm picking up unusual power readings down this corridor." They moved quietly, hiding whenever they heard the soft footsteps of luminary passing by. Taho led, his hand never far from the gun hidden under his uniform. "Here," Dong-hyun said finally, stopping before a sealed door. "This is using 3 times the power of any other room." He placed a small device on the door's control panel. After a tense minute, the door slid open. What they saw inside made them freeze in horror. The large room was filled with clear tubes. In each tube floated a human body, eyes closed as if sleeping. Thin wires connected each person's head to glowing machines. "There must be at least 50 people here," Ju whispered, moving forward. She checked the faces, looking for Hiren. "What are they doing to them?" Minji asked, studying the machines. Dong-hyun found a control panel and began typing rapidly. "These readings, it's like the machines are extracting electrical patterns from their brains, taking their thoughts, memories, personalities." "There," Ju pointed. "It's Hiren." Her assistant floated in a tube near the back. Her face looked peaceful, but small bubbles escaped from her mouth, proving she was still alive. "Can we free them?" Taho asked. "Not all at once," Dong-hyun said. "The system would lock down. Maybe 1 or 2. Suddenly alarms blared. Red lights flashed across the room. "We've been detected," Dong-hyun shouted. "We need to leave now." "Not without proof," Ju said, connecting a small drive to the control panel. "And not without Hiren," Taho added, moving toward her tube. The door behind them opened. 3 luminary guards entered, holding strange devices that hummed with energy. "Run," Taho shouted, pulling out his gun. He fired at the ceiling, creating a shower of sparks that distracted the guards. They ran for the second exit that Dong-hyun had found on the maps. Minji suddenly stopped. "The data isn't complete yet," she said. "You need proof or no one will believe you." "Minji." "No," Ju cried. But Minji was already running back, drawing the guards away from the others. She yelled, "Get to Earth. Tell everyone what they're doing." The last they saw of Minji, she was facing the luminary guards alone, buying precious seconds for her friends to escape with the evidence that would change everything. As they raced toward the shuttle bay, Taho's face hardened. "We're going to need more than evidence to fight these monsters," he said. "We're going to need monsters of our own." The 3 friends barely escaped the luminary ship. Their small shuttle landed in a forest, far from the city. They hid as alien craft searched the area with bright lights. "We need to get this information to the president," Ju said, holding the data drive from the ship. Dong-hyun shook his head. "Not yet. We first need to see what's on this drive." They found an old cabin and set up Dong-hyun's computer. As they watched the screen, their faces grew pale. "It's worse than we thought," Ju whispered. The files showed the luminaries' true plan. They traveled across space collecting the minds of different species. They called it preservation. They took the minds of beings they found interesting and stored them forever in their vast memory banks. "They don't see it as evil," Dong-hyun said, reading more files. They think they're saving the best parts of each species before they die out naturally. By stealing people's minds, Tahoe said angrily. They call Earth a Level 3 collection opportunity. They plan to take millions of human minds during something called the Ascension Ceremony next month. Ju pointed to another file. Look, some humans are already helping them. Government officials, business leaders, they've been implanted with control devices. The luminary convinced them this preservation is an honor, not a death. We need to show this to people who can help, Tahoe said. I know some military leaders who haven't met with the luminary yet. The next day, they traveled to a military base. General Wu was an old friend of Tahoe's father. He listened to their story and watched the videos from the luminary ship. This is very serious, he said, but we need to be careful. If what you say is true, we don't know who to trust anymore. They showed their evidence to more military leaders and scientists. Some believed them. Some did not. Some made calls to check their story. And then the trouble began. That night, the news called them terrorists. Their pictures appeared on screens across the country. The luminary ambassador spoke sadly about confused humans spreading fear instead of embracing the future. The president himself spoke to the nation. These dangerous individuals have attacked our friends and stolen secret technology. They must be found and stopped. His eyes, Tahoe said, watching the broadcast from their new hiding place. Did you see his eyes? He's been implanted too. How can we fight? Finding Dr. Sunwoo Choi was not easy. The old scientist had hidden himself well after Project Cerberus was shut down. Finally, they tracked him to a small house by the sea. When they knocked on his door, an old man with tired eyes answered. He tried to close the door when he saw Tahoe. Wait, Ju said. The world is in danger. We need your help. Sunwoo let them in, but didn't offer tea or smiles. Colonel Park, he said to Tahoe, you helped end my life's work. Why should I help you now? Because your monsters might be our only hope, Tahoe said. They showed Sunwoo their evidence about the luminary. The old man watched without surprise. I always knew they would come, he said softly. That's why I created the Cerberus soldiers, not for human wars. For this. Will you help us wake them? Ju asked. Sunwoo looked at her for a long time. Do you understand what you're asking? These soldiers aren't like normal people. They were changed at the deepest level. Stronger bones, faster reflexes, enhanced senses. Some can even sense thoughts and feelings from others. Are they dangerous? Donghyun asked. Of course they're dangerous, Sunwoo snapped. That's why they were created. But they're also still human inside. That's what everyone forgot. 2 days later, they stood before a hidden door in the side of a mountain near the DMZ. Sunwoo entered a long code into an old keypad. The heavy door opened with a groan. Inside was a long tunnel leading deep underground. The air smelled stale. Lights flickered on automatically as they walked. No one has been here for 5 years, Sunwoo said. Except me, checking the systems once a month. They reached a large round room with 30 glass tubes standing upright. Inside each tube was a person, sleeping, floating in clear liquid. Wires connected their bodies to machines that beeped softly. The Cerberus soldiers, Sunwoo said with pride and sadness in his voice. Ju walked among the tubes, looking at the sleeping faces, men and women of different ages. They looked peaceful, but she saw the changes in their bodies. Muscles too perfect. Scars where machines had been put inside them. How do we wake them? Tahoe asked. Carefully, Sunwoo said. He went to a control panel and began typing. I'll wake their leader first, Captain Junho Ryu. If he agrees to help, the others will follow him. One of the tubes began to drain. The sleeping man inside opened his eyes as the liquid lowered. He was tall with short black hair and a face that might have been handsome before scars changed it. The tube opened. Captain Junho stepped out, water dripping from his body. He looked at each person in the room, his eyes moving too quickly. taking in everything at once. "Dr. Choi," he said. His voice was rough from years of not being used. "Has the enemy arrived?" "Yes, Shunho," Sunwoo said gently, "but not the enemy we expected when we created you." They gave Shunho clothes and food while they explained about the luminary. He listened without showing much feeling. "Show me," he said when they finished. Donghyun played videos from the luminary ship on his computer. Shunho watched the humans floating in tubes, having their minds taken. Something changed in his face, something dark and angry. "Wake the others," he said. "All of them." "Are you sure?" Sunwoo asked. "Some of them were very unstable when we put them to sleep." "We were made for this," Shunho said. "To protect humanity when normal humans couldn't. It's time we did our job." As the other tubes began to drain, Shunho looked at Juwoo. "You're afraid of us," he said. It wasn't a question. "Yes," Juwoo admitted. "Good," he said. "So are the luminary going to be." Within 3 days, all 30 Cerberus soldiers were awake and ready. They trained without rest, their bodies moving faster than normal humans could. Watching them practice fighting, Juwoo felt both hope and fear. Captain Junho gathered everyone in the main room of the underground base. Maps and plans covered the walls. "The luminary have 3 main targets," he said. "The mothership where they keep the stolen mines, the ground station where they control their human helpers, and the broadcast center where they will announce the ascension ceremony." "But how can we fight their technology?" Donghyun asked. "Their weapons are far more advanced than ours." Junho smiled slightly. It made his scared face look even more frightening. "We have some advantages they don't expect." One of the other soldiers stepped forward. She was small but moved like a predator. "We can see them," she said. "Their true form." "What do you mean?" Juwoo asked. "The beautiful faces they show humans are fake," Junho explained. "Some kind of projection or mask. Our enhanced eyes can see through it. And more importantly, our minds can resist their control signals." Dr. Sunwoo nodded. "The changes we made to their brains created unexpected shields against outside influence." They made their plan. The attack would happen on 3 fronts at once. Shunho would lead most of the Cerberus soldiers against the mothership to free the captured humans. Taeho would take 5 soldiers to attack the ground station and free important officials from luminary control. Donghyun would lead a digital attack on their communication systems. "What about me?" Juwoo asked. "You and I will go to the mothership's center core," Junho said. "Your knowledge of the luminary science combined with my strength might let us free all the stored minds at once." The night before the attack, Juwoo couldn't sleep. She walked through the base and found Junho sitting alone, looking at a small photo. "What's that?" she asked. "My family," he said. "Before Cerberus, before I became this." He put the photo away. "Dr. Kim, if tomorrow goes wrong, make sure the world knows we tried to be heroes, not monsters." "I will," she promised. "But you're not monsters. You're still human." He looked at his hands. They were scared from the operations that had put metal under his skin. Not exactly human anymore. But maybe that's what Earth needs right now. The next day, they moved out in small groups. The luminary were preparing for their ascension ceremony. Giant screens in every city showed the beautiful alien ambassador talking about the great honor coming to selected humans. The Cerberus soldiers wore special armor made by Dr. Sunwoo. It helped hide them from luminary sensors. As they approached the mothership in stolen shuttles, alarms suddenly sounded. "They've spotted us," yelled the pilot. "Keep going," Shunho ordered. The shuttle crashed through the outer wall of the mothership. Shunho was first out, moving like lightning. 2 luminary guards fired strange weapons at him. The energy blasts hit his chest, but didn't stop him. Juwoo watched in amazement as the Cerberus soldiers fought. They seemed to know where attacks would come from before they happened. When the luminary guards came close, the soldiers tore through their beautiful forms, revealing strange insect-like bodies underneath. "This way," Junho called to Juwoo. The core is down this passage. They ran through the ship, fighting when needed. In one large room, they found humans in tubes, just like before. Minji was among them, still floating in clear liquid. "We'll come back for them," Juno promised. "But first we must stop the main system." They reached the central core of the ship. It was a massive room filled with glowing spheres, thousands of them. "The stored mines," Ju whispered in horror. "Not just humans, all the species they've collected." In the center stood the luminary ambassador, but without her beautiful human mask. Her true form had too many eyes and limbs that moved wrong. "You cannot stop preservation," she said. "It is the greatest gift we offer." "We don't want your gift," Junho said, stepping forward. "Humans prefer to live free, even if it means dying someday." The ambassador raised her hands. "Then you leave us no choice but to take Earth by force." Finding Dr. Sunwoo Choi was not easy. The old scientist had hidden himself well after Project Cerberus was shut down. Finally, they tracked him to a small house by the sea. When they knocked on his door, an old man with tired eyes answered. He tried to close the door when he saw Tao. "Wait," Ju said. "The world is in danger. We need your help." Sunwoo let them in, but didn't offer tea or smiles. "Colonel Park," he said to Tao, "you helped end my life's work. Why should I help you now?" "Because your monsters might be our only hope," Tao said. They showed Sunwoo their evidence about the luminary. The old man watched without surprise. "I always knew they would come," he said softly. "That's why I created the Cerberus soldiers, not for human wars. For this. Will you help us wake them?" Ju asked. Sunwoo looked at her for a long time. "Do you understand what you're asking? These soldiers aren't like normal people. They were changed at the deepest level. Stronger bones, faster reflexes, enhanced senses. Some can even sense thoughts and feelings from others." "Are they dangerous?" Donghyun asked. "Of course they're dangerous," Sunwoo snapped. "That's why they were created. But they're also still human inside. That's what everyone forgot." 2 days later, they stood before a hidden door in the side of a mountain near the DMZ. Sunwoo entered a long code into an old keypad. The heavy door opened with a groan. Inside was a long tunnel leading deep underground. The air smelled stale. Lights flickered on automatically as they walked. "No one has been here for 5 years," Sunwoo said. "Except me, checking the systems once a month." They reached a large round room with 30 glass tubes standing upright. Inside each tube was a person, sleeping, floating in clear liquid. Wires connected their bodies to machines that beeped softly. "The Cerberus soldiers," Sunwoo said with pride and sadness in his voice. Ju walked among the tubes, looking at the sleeping faces, men and women of different ages. They looked peaceful, but she saw the changes in their bodies. Muscles too perfect, scars where machines had been put inside them. "How do we wake them?" Tahoe asked. "Carefully," Sunwoo said. He went to a control panel and began typing. "I'll wake their leader first, Captain Junho Ryu. If he agrees to help, the others will follow him." One of the tubes began to drain. The sleeping man inside opened his eyes as the liquid lowered. He was tall with short black hair and a face that might have been handsome before scars changed it. The tube opened. Captain Junho stepped out, water dripping from his body. He looked at each person in the room, his eyes moving too quickly, taking in everything at once. "Dr. Choi," he said. His voice was rough from years of not being used. "Has the enemy arrived?" "Yes, Junho," Sunwoo said gently. "But not the enemy we expected when we created you." They gave Junho clothes and food, while they explained about the luminary. He listened without showing much feeling. "Show me," he said when they finished. Donghyun played videos from the luminary ship on his computer. Junho watched the humans floating in tubes, having their minds taken. Something changed in his face, something dark and angry. "Wake the others," he said. "All of them." "Are you sure?" Sunwoo asked. Some of them were very unstable when we put them to sleep. We were made for this, Junho said, to protect humanity when normal humans couldn't. It's time we did our job. As the other tubes began to drain, Junho looked at Juwoo. You're afraid of us, he said. It wasn't a question. Yes, Juwoo admitted. Good, he said. So are the Luminary going to be. The Luminary ambassador moved with unnatural speed toward Junho. Her many limbs reached for his head. Junho dodged, but one sharp claw cut his face. Your mind will make a fine addition to our collection, the ambassador hissed. Junho didn't answer with words. He attacked, his enhanced body moving faster than Juwoo's eyes could follow. The ambassador was strong, but Junho matched her strength. Meanwhile, Juwoo ran to the control panels around the room. She had to find a way to free the stored mines. Through her earpiece, she heard reports from the other teams. Ground station secured, Tahoe's voice said. 6 officials freed from Luminary control. They're helping us now. Communications disrupted, Dongyan reported. Their ships can't talk to each other. Around the mothership, the other Cerberus soldiers were fighting their way through waves of Luminary guards. One soldier named Hannah discovered something important. Their minds are connected, she shouted over the radio. I can feel it when I touch them. Like a network. Junho heard this as he fought. Something clicked in his mind. He stopped trying to beat the ambassador with strength and instead placed his hands on her head. The ambassador screamed. Junho's eyes went wide. His body shook. Captain, Juwoo yelled, afraid for him. I can see, Junho whispered. I can see their network, their shared mind, just like ours. Juwoo didn't understand at first. Then she remembered what Dr. Sunwoo had told her. The Cerberus soldiers could sense each other's thoughts and feelings. They had their own kind of network. Cerberus team, Junho called through gritted teeth, still holding the struggling ambassador. Mind linked now. Across the mothership, all 30 Cerberus soldiers stopped fighting for a moment. Their faces showed concentration. Something invisible connected them. What are they doing? Juwoo asked aloud. Fighting on a different level, came Dr. Sunwoo's voice through her earpiece. He was watching from the base. They're attacking the Luminary mental network. The Luminary guards throughout the ship began to move strangely. Some fell to the ground. Others walked in circles, confused. The ambassador shrieked in a language Juwoo didn't understand. The controls, Junho said to Juwoo, still holding the ambassador. Free the minds now, while their network is confused. Juwoo turned back to the panels. Using what she had learned from the Luminary database, she found the release sequence. Her fingers flew across the strange controls. Working on Earth now, came Tahoe's voice. Military forces are taking back control of defense systems. The president is free from Luminary influence. One by one, the glowing spheres in the room began to dim. In the tubes throughout the ship, humans started to wake up. It's working, Juwoo shouted. The ambassador broke free from Junho's grip. You cannot stop us, she screamed. We have preserved thousands of species. We are eternal. She ran to another panel and began pressing controls quickly. Warning lights flashed. The ship trembled. What is she doing? Juwoo asked. Self-destruct, Junho said. She's trying to kill us all. The ambassador turned to them, her many eyes glowing with hatred. If we cannot preserve humanity, we will destroy it. Suddenly, Dr. Sunwoo appeared in the doorway. No one had known he was on the ship. Get out now, he told Junho and Juwoo. I'll handle this. Dr. Choi. No. Junho moved toward his creator. Sunwoo smiled sadly. My monsters turned out to be heroes after all. Now go. Save the others. He pushed them out the door and sealed it shut. Through the small window, they saw him tackle the ambassador away from the controls. We have to go, Junho said, pulling Juwoo away. Throughout the ship, Cerberus soldiers were helping freed humans to escape pods. Minji was among them. weak but alive. Hyarin too, confused but walking. As their escape pod launched away from the mothership, Juwu looked back. The great ship shuddered but didn't explode. "He did it," she whispered. Dr. Sunwoo stopped the self-destruct. Shunho nodded, his face showing real emotion for the first time. "But I don't think he's coming back." Above Earth, the remaining luminary ships began to retreat, their network broken, their plans in ruins. They had come in peace, but they had not expected humans to create monsters capable of fighting back. 3 months after the battle, Earth was still healing. Cities had been damaged in the fighting. People who had been freed from luminary control needed time to recover. The world had changed forever. Juwu stood at the window of the new extraterrestrial defense center. She watched as Cerberus soldiers trained in the yard below. Their movements were beautiful and deadly. Tahoe entered the room with a stack of papers. He wore a general's uniform now. "The last luminary ship left our solar system yesterday," he said. "Our new sensors tracked it all the way out." "Do you think they'll come back?" Juwu asked. "Someday, maybe. But we'll be ready." Tahoe looked down at the training soldiers. "How are they adjusting?" "Better than expected," Juwu said. "Shunho has been a good leader. He helps them remember their humanity while using their special abilities." The door opened and Hyarin walked in. She looked healthy now, but her eyes had changed. They seemed older, wiser. "The memory transfers are working," she said. "We're learning so much from the Luminary database." When they freed the stored minds, they discovered the Luminary had kept vast knowledge from all the species they had preserved over thousands of years. Hyarin and other former captives could access parts of this knowledge, a strange side effect of their time in the tubes. "Any more information about other species who fought the Luminary?" Tahoe asked. "Yes," Hyarin said. "At least 3 other planets successfully resisted collection. There might be allies for us out there." Later that day, Juwu visited the memorial for those lost in the battle. Dr. Sunwoo's name was carved in stone, along with 20 others. Some were humans who died in the fighting. 3 were Cerberus soldiers who gave their lives to save others. Shunho stood at the memorial too, placing small white flowers beneath his creator's name. "He called us monsters," Shunho said quietly. "But he never stopped seeing us as human." "You proved him right," Juwu said. "You saved humanity." "And now, what are we now?" Shunho looked at his scarred hands. "The world knows about us. Some people fear us. Others want more soldiers like us made." "What do you want?" Juwu asked. Shunho thought for a long moment. "To protect Earth, and to find a place where we belong." A week later, the president gave medals to everyone who fought against the Luminary. The ceremony was broadcast worldwide. When the Cerberus soldiers walked onto the stage, the crowd went silent at first. Then one person began to clap. Then another. Soon the whole crowd cheered. "Today we honor those who saved our planet," the president said, "human and enhanced human alike." That night, there was a party at the defense center. Donghyun had recovered some music from the Luminary database, songs from other worlds. The strange, beautiful sounds filled the room. Minji, fully recovered now, danced with one of the Cerberus soldiers. Tahoe laughed at something Hyarin said. For a moment, it seemed like any normal celebration. Juwu found Shunho on the balcony, looking at the stars. "Thinking about what's out there?" she asked. "Yes," he said. "The Luminary aren't the only ones traveling between stars. There will be others, some friendly, some not." "And we'll be ready," Juwu said. Shunho nodded. "Humans create monsters when they need them. That's our strength. We become what we must to survive." Above them, new satellites watched the edges of the solar system. Ships were being built with technology learned from the Luminary. The world had united in a way never seen before. The ambassador had come in peace, offering false friendship while planning to take their minds. She never expected humans to fight back with their own monsters, creatures made from humanity's darkest abilities, but fighting for its brightest future. And somewhere in the darkness between stars, the luminary ships carried a message back to their homeworld. Earth was not to be touched again. The humans had monsters protecting them now.